Hello there, this is Mr. James back with your vocabulary and writing lesson for today. You should have finished reading the section from our Explorer's book earlier today about Cortez and the Aztecs. So we're going to choose some vocabulary words from there. Make sure you're writing your own sentences in your packet and make sure that those are contextually relevant sentences. All right, here we go. Our first word is the word technically. And technically is an adverb, which means it describes a verb. And a lot of times adverbs do end in ly, and because it's saying something was technically something else. In this case, in our text, that was a really bad example I just gave. So I'm going to read the example from the text because that's the best way to find a good example of the word technically. On page 14 in the section entitled Badly Behaved Guests, it says Cortez was technically Montezuma's guest, but he was also a very badly behaved one. So if we're trying to figure out what that word might mean, you might see that the word technic in there, or technical, which is something you might be able to relate to. In addition, in the text it says he was technically a guest, but he was a very badly behaved one. That word but there kind of tells us that he's sort of the opposite of that, if you will. So we know that he was badly behaved even though he was technically a guest. So in this case, the word technically means he was actually or factually a guest. And some morphological links to that are the word technical or technician. My sample sentence says, although the tomato is technically a fruit, like actually, factually it is, many people refer to it as a vegetable. Go ahead and pause this video and write your own sentence with great context clues in it before returning and going on to the next word. Our next word is the word rival, and rival is also on page 14. I think all three of our words today are. It is also in the badly behaved guest section. It's in the second paragraph of that section. And it says Cortez had to leave in April 1520 to fight off a rival group of conquistadors who also wanted to rule. So in this case, it says that he wanted to fight off a rival group. And if he's fighting them off, they're probably not somebody that he agrees with. They're probably not somebody that he gets along with if he's fighting them off. And they also wanted to rule that area. So I would say that, a rival, and if you've heard the word rivalry before, you probably know that a rival is an opponent or an enemy. And like I said, a morphological link to that word is the word rivalry. My sentence, a sample sentence, this is from a few years ago when this was really happening. After playing each other in the NBA Finals for 3 straight years, the Warriors, I forgot an S there, the Warriors and Cavaliers became rivals. That means they were sort of always opponents in the NBA Finals. They had a rivalry going. They were playing each other every year. And many of the players, in fact, didn't like each other after playing each other that many times. Go ahead and pause this and come up with your own sentence with good context clues. And our last word is the word tactic. And in our text on page 14 as well, it says, this was a normal tactic for conquistadors who often captured local leaders and then forced them to rule as they wanted. So, tactic, it was a normal tactic for this to happen, meaning it was something normal that would happen. And if we're thinking about tactic and what that might be able to mean, in this case, a tactic would mean a strategy. It was a normal strategy for them to do, was to capture those local leaders and force them to rule in the way they wanted. And some morphological links are tactical and tactically. And the sample sentence says, the coach shared the game-winning tactic with the players during the final timeout. So he shared that game-winning strategy with them, that game-winning method or play that they were going to use. This is a common way that we use the word tactic. You should be pausing the video now and writing your own sentence with good context. So for your write in response to reading question, it talks about the author's use of adjectives and adverbs in the text. As I said earlier, an adverb is a word that describes a verb. It describes how something was done or how something happened. So you want to find some of those adjectives, which you know what those are. They describe nouns, and adverbs, which describe verbs, and try to come up with some examples of how the author uses those adjectives and adverbs and how they can help you better understand the text. Be sure you're providing examples from the text. This might be a good day to do some accurate quoting in your write in response to reading. All right, it's been a pleasure spending some time with you today. Please let us know if you have any questions or need anything else. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe out there.